Hello, my name is Parker Howard, and today I'm going to discuss decreasing falls in the hospital and the role management plays in that. I'm going to start by explaining why decreasing falls is important. Falls account for 32% of safety incidents in the UK National Health Service hospitals. In '04 and '05, 275,000 hospital falls were reported in the UK. There also could be a lot larger number than that, considering a lot of falls do not get reported. Approximately 30% of falls result in physical injury. This is not a good thing because most patients are elderly and a fall could result in serious injury and prolonged injury and keeping them in the hospital a lot longer than they need to be. Falls could also lead to malpractice suits and will take a hit on the hospital financially. Financial problems could even happen to the hospital if they do win the malpractice suit. They would have to hire lawyers and such to help fight this case and could lead to a large amount of money. Hospitals are also a place for recovery, so patients should not be getting injured in them. It is a place for them to just go and finally get better and not prolong their stay. Accidents also rank as fourth among leading cause of death in the United States, and an accidental fall to an elderly person could result in death or just a prolonged injury that could be very tough on them. Next, I'm going to discuss the liability issues that the hospital may have by allowing their patients to fall. Medicaid does not cover patient falls. It is one of the 8 conditions considered by the Centers for Medicaid and Medical Services that should not be reimbursed. Falls cost the hospital more money. 3 to 20% of inpatients fall, leading to longer stays and approximately $4,000 in excess charges to the hospital. Falls can also lead to lawsuits, and ignoring falls can lead to more injuries and more possible lawsuits, as some patients may fall and not be treated for their fall after they have been injured and just been taken back to bed or just ignored, and they do not get treated the way they need to be treated. It could also hurt the hospital's reputation, as if word is getting around that a lot of falls are happening in this certain hospital and the nurses and other staff do not care, then a lot of patients will not want to go to that hospital because they do not feel they are getting adequately treated. Next, I'm going to give you some examples of malpractice suits. The first is by a man by the name of Mawala fell at Mills Peninsula Medical Center. He then sued the hospital for inadequate nurse care. He claimed that the staff was understaffed, and he was a man of large stature, being 300 pounds, was not completely taken care of by enough nurses to help him walk to the recovery room. He then fell in the recovery room, fractured his hip, and now is suing the hospital. This could easily have been prevented by hiring more people and reporting the fall because they did not assess his hip fracture right after he fell. The next example is a patient falling at Baptist Hospital of Miami. The patient was 72 years old and already in the hospital for 7 days prior. He wakes up and goes to the bathroom frequently at night, which was known by the hospital and the hospital staff. He then slipped on the wet floor of the bathroom and fell and broke his femur. This easily could have been prevented by ensuring that the room is clean by having routinely walks throughout the hospital and checking on every patient and making sure that they have all the necessary needs they need to walk to the bathroom and that everything is clean around them so they do not have something to trip on or slip on. The final example that I have is the 60-year-old man slipped and fell out of a hospital bed in Tampa, Florida. The man was hospitalized for falling at home first and breaking his pelvis. He then slipped and fell out of his bed trying to get out to go use the restroom, and then sued the hospital for negligence for not supplying gripper socks, which is required by company policy. The nurses didn't respond after he was pressing the call light to receive help. The family then received $36,000, and this could easily have been prevented by keeping the utensils close that he needed, such as gripper socks, which were not ever supplied to him. Here are a list of ways to prevent falls. Let's start with education. By educating the staff to know who is most applicable to fall and who to make sure is required more attention and help keep from falling. Patients should also be educated on what to do to keep from falling and how to use certain utensils that help them navigate around the hospital. The next is for the hospital to have a company plan. This plan should be imported and have regulations that the staff is required to do to help prevent falls and negligence. This plan should be created by one of the people in management. The staff should also be required to have hourly roundings to check on all patients at least once every hour. This could help the patient by staying in bed and waiting for the staff to come around and help them walk if need be. Even if a patient does try to walk on their own, the staff can check and make sure that they are okay and no injuries are sustained within the hour. Gripper socks and other walking aids also need to be kept close to the patient at all times, so they can use them whenever they need to. Next, we are going to talk about the six-pack program. The six-pack program was something used by Australian hospitals. There were 6 hospitals that each had one of these 6 provisions placed in their hospital. This test was to see if implementing the program would decrease falls. This led to many positive improvements, and more hospitals implemented plans similar to this. One of the hospitals had fall alert signs placed all around the hospital to warn patients and staff about possible falls in certain areas. Another made sure that all patients were supervised while using the restroom. Another put all walking aids within reach of the patients at all times. Another had a toilet regimen to allow the staff to know when a patient was using the restroom. Another used low beds to keep the beds low to the ground and make it easier for the patient to get in and out of the bed. Another had the use of bed and chair alarms to tell the staff whenever help was needed or they were about to get up and start walking and needed assistance. Now we will talk about the management's roles. They must set regulations and make sure that the staff is following them. They can check on the staff frequently to keep the regulations in place. They also could not punish the staff for reporting falls. By doing this, it helps get the patients the need they deserve and can help prevent this from happening again. Management should also always have enough people on staff. When a large man, such as Moala, who I discussed about earlier, needs help, it can take multiple people to help him navigate around the hospital. Hiring more people does cost money, but it is better than facing malpractice suits and getting a bad reputation for your hospital. They also need to be more aware on when patients need more aid, such as Moala, who obviously needed more help. If the patient does not have enough assistance, this could lead to severe falls. The management also needs to purchase enough walking aids. Like the example I gave earlier, where a hospital did not have enough gripper socks, resulted in a man falling and injuring himself and ended up suing the hospital. As you can see, there are very easy tasks that can be put in place to help lower the risk of falls. Although it may cost the hospital more money, it can decrease patient injuries in the hospital and keep the hospital's reputation intact. It can also lessen the chance of malpractice cases and can take a serious toll on the hospital financially. Now here is my reference page for the information I used in this presentation. If you have any questions, you are welcome to email me and I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you.